Starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Rob Bonacore. I am the Director of Enrollment Management Technology, and I'll be providing your tech support for tonight's webinar, so welcome to our webinar. Just a few housekeeping items before we begin with the official presentation. The webinar will last about an hour, and questions can be asked at any time throughout. There will be somewhat of a formal question-answer session at the end, but please ask your questions throughout the presentation as they arise. We have two presenters with us tonight, so they'll be going back and forth, showing their screens and giving presentations, and you can jump in with questions at any point along the way. Second point is that all attendees will be on mute. So when you entered the webinar, your microphone is muted. You can hear us, but we can't hear you. And just because of the number of students we have online tonight, it's going to have to sort of stay that way. It's too much just to have too many voices. So what do you do when you want to ask a question? Please use the question window on your toolbar to post questions to us. Questions that you type in there will be shown to any of the TCNJ presenters and moderators, so we'll see your questions. You don't have to direct it to any one specifically of us. But just so you know, the other students, the other attendees on here do not see it. So any questions you post will not be shown to the public as coming from you. It will only be the TCNJ presenters, but we will see all of them. Once we receive questions, we will either read them out, we'll voice them and read those questions so that the audience can hear them, as well as answer them. And so you post by the chat window and we'll answer verbally. If we have so many questions that we can't get to them all in this session, all questions are logged when you type them in. And so we know by the email that you logged in with today who asked that question, and we can always follow up with you via email. So any questions we don't get to, we will respond to via email later on, or if it requires more of a some research on our part or getting back to you on something, we can always follow up to that question via email. And we can also answer questions privately back to you through the chat window. So if you ask a question that's maybe more of a little bit of a private nature, we can respond to that through the chat window as well, and that will go back to just you as well. Besides questions, there is a camera icon in the upper right of your screen, and you can use that icon to basically take screenshots of anything you see us present tonight. So anywhere along the way, if you see a phone number, if you see something that you want us to remember, you can obviously take notes, but you can also just hit that button and it will take a screenshot of that and save it to your computer. And lastly, just so you know, the webinar is being recorded. In a little bit, we will post this. We will post our webinar, and so if there's anything that you've missed, or if you have to leave early and you want to come back and see what you missed at the end, you can always come back and you can see the fully recorded webinar. So with that, I am going to turn over presentation here to our first presenter of the evening. And Susan, there you go.
Thank you, Robbie. Okay, are we good, GCV?
I do, yeah.
Okay, thank you. All right, so welcome, everyone, and thank you for joining us this evening. We're really happy to have you here, and we're happy to have the opportunity to talk with you a little bit about our counselor education programs and the application process, tell you a little bit about the college, and answer your questions. So we're going to get started. Welcome to the College of New Jersey's Counselor Education Virtual Open House. As Robbie has said, my name is Susan Hydro. I'm the Director of Graduate and Intercession Programs at the College of New Jersey, and I will be one of your presenters, as will Dr. Marian Cavallaro, who is the Associate Professor of Clinical Mental Health Counseling. She's the Associate Professor and the Program Coordinator for Clinical Mental Health Counseling from the Department of Counselor Education. Our contact information is included here if you want to jot that down, but we'll also have some contact information for you later on that you'll see, and of course, if you've missed something, then do send a question in and ask. So what can you expect from this evening? So I'll cover an overview and a brief history of the College of New Jersey, graduate admissions and the application process, and graduate assistantship opportunities. Dr. Cavallaro will cover programs that are available, why to consider TCNJ for counseling, credentials and requirements, also taking courses abroad, which may not be something that you've thought about, but is an exciting opportunity that we do offer for our and also the admissions from the program perspective. We'll then have a question and answer session following that. And now, a little bit about the college. So just an overview in history. TCNJ was originally called the New Jersey State Normal School, and we were founded in 1855. We've changed our name a few times through the years, but we have held fast to the values that we held at that time. We are a highly competitive liberal arts institution. We have achieved national acclaim. We are located in Ewing, New Jersey. We sit on close to 300 acres, surrounded by 2 lakes. We have 7 schools on campus. 4 of those are involved with graduate programs. So those include education, nursing, health and exercise science, humanities and social sciences, and also engineering. We have a highly accomplished faculty. We're very proud of that. We have been cited by the Princeton Review as having students who are among the happiest. We have been ranked for nearly 2 decades as the #1 public college on U.S. News and World Report's list of best universities master's category for the northern region of the country. And we also have been named a best value in public education by Kiplinger's, Barron's, and the Princeton Review. A little bit about the graduate admissions process. We do have a website. You see it here, graduate.pages.tcnj.edu. You've probably been to that site. You may have registered for this open house through that site. And we've got lots of information here for you. Information about categories that we offer, the link for the application itself, which you see right there with the blue Apply Now button on the right-hand side of the screen. There's information also included about what documents are required to apply, and we'll go over some of that. You'll also see a graduate assistantship link, and we'll talk about that as well. And then we've got lots of other links and resources available here for you. Included among the resources is our graduate bulletin, which will provide you with specifics about the programs that Dr. Cavallaro will talk about. So we have 2 different types of admission, really, and that translates into differences when you apply. So students can apply either for matriculation or for non-matriculation. So someone would apply for matriculation when the intention really is to complete a degree or a certificate program. Applicants applying for matriculation must have a bachelor's degree from an accredited institution in the U.S. or proof of an equivalent preparation from a foreign university or college. So if you attended a school outside the United States, we do need for you to provide a transcript evaluation from an accredited agency. The minimum GPA required to apply is a 3.0, and that would be cumulative GPA. However, we do have a competitive process for our admissions, and so many times the minimum for the average or the minimum for admitted students is higher, and that's based upon the pool of applicants. For non-matriculation, this is really a category of admission for someone who either isn't sure which program is right for them and wants to take a course or 2 to test it out, or someone who just knows that they're not looking to complete a degree program and they're looking to take courses for personal enrichment. Or it might be a category of admission that's used for someone who may have missed a deadline to apply for matriculation and wants to get a start. One thing that's important to note for non-matriculation is that a non-matriculant is not eligible for financial aid. Another thing that's important to note is that someone who comes in as a non-matriculant can take up to 2 courses that can be used toward a program if you later apply and become accepted for matriculation into a specific degree program. Applicants must have a bachelor's degree and 2.75 cumulative average or 3.0 in the major from an accredited institution in the U.S. or, again, proof of equivalent from foreign university or college. So what do you need to submit to apply for these categories of admission? For matriculation, you need to submit the online application for graduate study, and that was that blue Apply Now button that I pointed out on our website. The online application takes about 10 to 15 minutes to complete. It gets completed directly on the computer. But then there are additional pieces that you need to provide. One is the application fee, which is $75. It is waived for previous TCNJ undergraduate or graduate students. And we'll talk a little bit more about the supplemental documents themselves. The graduate record exam, the GRE scores, and the GRE is waived for applicants who already hold a master's or other higher level degree. For non-matriculation, you would also be providing the online application, the $75 application fee, resume or CV, and a brief student essay. And it can be brief for non-matriculation. So the online application, again, is accessible through our website. And through the online application, you can attach your $75 application fee. You can, if you have your resume or CV ready, you can upload that to the application. Same thing with the admissions questionnaire addendum that's required for counselor education applicants. And you can also attach your essay or personal statement if you have that ready and available. So you can attach those as PDF documents or Word documents. That would be for the resume, the addendum, and the essay. So the supplemental documents that are required are also listed on our website at that address. That was through the apply link at the graduate website. And letter of recommendation forms can be found also at the same place. So to be considered complete, we need to have all of the elements here for the application, and they need to be here by the priority or the final deadline in order to be reviewed by the department. We'll talk about the deadlines in a minute. But we need to have from you the online application, the application fee, all supplemental documents, and GRE scores unless you need the waiver. And again, the waiver in this case would be if you already hold a master's degree or if you already hold some other higher level degree. So as far as deadlines, for spring 2015, I'm going to jump to the bottom first. So the deadline for counselor education programs for spring 2015 was October 1st. The EDS program, however, and Dr. Cavallaro will talk briefly about the EDS program, that only accepts applications for the fall admission. So we're going to move over to fall. And again, this is matriculation. So for fall 2015, the EDS program will accept applications between the priority deadline of February 1st through the final deadline of May 1st. All other counselor education programs, meaning all the Master of Arts programs as well as the certificate programs, those programs would use the February 1st deadline. And there is only that one deadline. There is not a priority and a final in this case. For MA programs and the certificate program, there is just one deadline, February 1st. For non-matriculation, it is still possible to apply for non-matriculation for spring 2015. There is a December 1st priority deadline and a January 7th final deadline. And I just want to take a moment just to explain priority versus final. So what we mean by that in this case, for example, so someone who is applying for non-matriculation, if their application is here and complete by December 1st, it's going to be reviewed first. However, if there are still seats remaining and available and an application comes in between December 1st up through January 7th, the final deadline, that will be reviewed as well. So we will continue to provide the Department of Counselor Education Program Admissions Committee with complete applications up through things that complete by that final deadline. As long as they have space, they will review them. But no new applications for non-matriculation for spring 2015 will be accepted after January 7th. For fall, we have a priority deadline of August 1st and a final deadline of August 15th. Again, this is for non-matriculation for the fall. And no new applications for non-matriculation would be accepted after August 15th for fall. In terms of graduate assistantship, we do have approximately 30 positions across campus that would be classified as graduate assistantship. Positions are available for graduate students who are eligible, and to be eligible you need to be a matriculated full-time graduate student. Full-time would be classified as enrolled in at least nine credits per semester. So we do get more applications for graduate assistantship than we have positions available. So they are competitive. Graduate assistantship work 15 hours a week in each of the 15 weeks of each semester for the fall and spring while the college is in session. The compensation for that is tuition waiver, and that is $5,000 in each of those 2 semesters for a total of $10,000 for the academic year. And again, that is tuition waiver, so that's credited to the student's account. We talked about the eligibility, full-time, minimum 9 credits per semester. And you do also need to have had a minimum undergraduate cumulative GPA of 3.0 to be eligible. A graduate assistant can be hired for a maximum of 2 years, but each year is a separate contract and each year requires an application. So the application goes live on our website through that link that I had pointed out when we were looking at the website, the graduate assistantship link that runs along the top. And that goes live in January and is due April 15th. So again, that's an application that has to be completed each year. And a student could be hired for a maximum of 2 years as a graduate assistant. The way the process works is once you apply, we gather your information together. We request a separate resume for this system. And we notify those departments that have positions available that we have applicants available for them to review. They review applicant information through typically May and June, and they reach out to those applicants that they'd like to interview, and those applicants who feel have the skills necessary to complete the tasks that they're going to need completed for the coming year. They reach out, they interview, and then they work to select candidates. We don't begin contracting for graduate assistantship until July. So oftentimes people ask about timing. Certainly go ahead and submit an application for a graduate assistantship if that's something that you're interested in doing concurrently while you are completing your application for admission. You do not need to wait for an admission decision to submit your assistantship application. And at the Office of Graduate Studies, we have a general email address, which is graduate@tcnj.edu. And our main phone number is 609-771-2300. We are always happy to assist you. And I'm now actually going to change to Dr. Cavallero. And she's going to talk a little bit more about the programs that are available and the program admission process from the department's point of view.
Hi, I'm Mary Cavallero, and welcome to our virtual open house. I'm going to tell you about the various programs that we have. I'll talk a little bit about why we hope you'll consider our programs, what it's like to be a student in our program and some opportunities that you'll have, and I'll talk about the admissions process unique to our department, and then we'll hopefully answer your questions. So I'll start talking about our various programs. We have 3 programs which lead to master's degrees. The Clinical Mental Health Counseling program is 60 credits, and within that program there are 2 options. Students can choose the generalist option if they're planning to practice in general clinical mental health counseling settings, or they may choose to specialize in our substance abuse and addictions counseling track if they know that they would like to work specifically in that kind of setting. In addition, we have a master's option in marriage, couple, and family counseling and therapy. That is also a 60 credit program. And our school counseling program is 48 credits. These are all master's programs, and they are all accredited by the Council for Accreditation of Counseling and Related Educational Programs. These programs all share common core courses. Sometimes students ask, well, if I start out in a certain program and want to change, can I? It is possible. You do need to meet with an advisor and have discussion, and as long as there's room, there usually is, a student is able to change if it's fairly early on in the program. Most students, though, do stay with the program that they start with, but that option is there to change early on before you get too far into the program. As I said before, all of our programs are accredited by the Council for Accreditation of Counseling and Related Educational Programs. CACREP is the accrediting body for all counselor education programs in the United States. Programs have to go through a very lengthy self-study process and a site visit by a team in order to achieve this accreditation. We just recently achieved this accreditation, so we're very pleased that we are continuing our tradition of accreditation. Since 1991, we've received CACREP accreditation for every single master's program for which we've ever applied. So we're really pleased that we can offer this to our students. Some reasons that we hope that you consider us. As I said, we initially became accredited by CACREP in 1991, and we were the first institution in the state of New Jersey to achieve accreditation for our counselor education programs. Because we are a CACREP accredited program, our students are able to sit for the National Counselor exam while they're still students in our program. During the last semester of enrollment, they are able to take this exam, which is the exam required to apply to become a licensed professional counselor. And each year we have a nearly perfect pass rate on this exam by our students. We also have an honor society for counselor education on campus, Chi Sigma Iota. It's a fairly active chapter which runs a mentoring program for new students. It also holds workshops on job hunting strategies, on preparing for the National Counselor exam, and every year we induct probably a majority of our students into this honor society because our students usually do very well in our programs. Also want to mention some additional programs of study that we have. We have our Student Assistance Coordinator program, which is 21 credits. This is a postmaster's program leading to SAC certification in the state of New Jersey. So this would be a program for individuals who already hold a bachelor's degree, already hold some kind of master's degree. Say they have a master's degree already in counseling or social work or some kind of related field and would like to come back and to obtain these certification to become a SAC. Also, students who are enrolled in our master's programs are also eligible to take the SAC courses so that when they're actually obtaining their master's degree, they can obtain the SAC certification at the same time. And then we have a postmaster's educational specialist program in marriage and family therapy, and that is 24 credits. This is a program that requires that individuals already hold a bachelor's degree and a master's degree, and usually they hold a master's degree in counseling or a related field, and they want to specialize in marriage and family therapy. As Susan mentioned earlier, with this program, we only accept students for the fall semester. And generally students take 2 courses a semester and are able to complete the program in 2 years. Right now we're going to take a little break from this and go to our first poll.
Okay, so it's looking like most have responded. We'll give it another moment. So it looks like most are interested in either school counseling or clinical mental health counseling, but we do have interest as well in marriage, couples, and family counseling and therapy.
Okay, great. Thank you. All right, let me talk a little bit about some reasons why we hope you consider our program. We do have the only EDS program in marriage and family therapy in central and southern New Jersey, and we're also considered one of the leaders of education in addictions counseling. There are very few programs in New Jersey that specialize in addictions counseling, and we have 2 full-time faculty members who are specialists in addictions counseling as well. So that is a very strong area, and even if you're not interested in pursuing specifically addictions counseling, we have many elective courses that you can take in addictions counseling in order to meet your elective requirements. We also have a brand new building. It's 2 years old with state-of-the-art technology in our counselor education training facility. And I have a few pictures I'm going to show you. And we also offer summer courses in Lisbon, Portugal. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that in a few minutes too. Here are a few snapshots of our counseling lab facility. We have a dedicated classroom, and attached to that dedicated classroom are 3 individual counseling rooms. Those are the rooms you see on the top right. There's a sample of one of the rooms. We use those rooms for either individual counseling or group counseling, and students are in these rooms learning the basic counseling skills when they take Introduction to Counseling courses in counseling theory and techniques and group counseling. You'll see on the top left there's a corridor. Well, peering into through the corridor, we can actually, as faculty, look into each room through the one-way mirror. We have options to actually listen in, and in each room we have a camera, and if you look at the bottom picture, we have a resource room, and feeding into that resource room are the video feeds for all 3 cameras, so we can be watching what's going on in each room, and we can also be digitally recording. So what happens in our Introduction to Counseling class, students actually practice in these rooms, they're learning the skills, and they're being recorded, and then they actually review the recording with their faculty member throughout the semester as well. So it really gives a lot of one-on-one attention for the students. Our programs meet many different requirements. We meet the academic requirements for New Jersey licensure as a professional counselor. For that license, students need at least 60 credits. So if someone graduates from our clinical mental health or marriage, couples, and family counseling master's program, they have met all the educational requirements for that licensure. If they graduate from our 48 credit credit school counseling program, they take an additional 12 credits and then have the 60 credits they need for that license. Most of our school counseling students tend to do that in order to be eligible for that license. For those individuals who are in our master's program in marriage, couples, and family counseling or our EDS program, they're also eligible for the licensure as a marriage and family therapist in New Jersey. And for those students who specialize in the addictions counseling track within our clinical mental health counseling program, they're eligible for the clinical alcohol and addiction specialist licensure. And then our school counseling students are eligible for certification as a school counselor in both the states of New Jersey and in Pennsylvania. So we like to think that we offer some of the highest preparation standards possible in counselor education at the master's and postmaster's level in New Jersey. We also prepare students for doctoral studies if those students are interested in pursuing doctoral studies in either counselor education, counseling psychology, or clinical psychology. Usually we have about 2 or 3 students a year who go on to obtain, to go into doctoral programs after they're with us, or maybe they take a year or 2 off and then go on to doctoral programs. Either doctoral programs, say in the state of New Jersey, they might go to Montclair State, which has doctoral programs in counselor education. We've had students who've gone into Pennsylvania, to Lehigh, to various graduate programs in the Philadelphia area. And we've also had students who've traveled to various states from Georgia to Minnesota, to Iowa, to Tennessee, all the way out to California for doctoral degrees as well. Our school counseling students receive their certification in school counseling upon graduation, and our institution actually processes your application so that usually within a couple weeks of receiving your degree you actually have your school certification in hand. I want to say a few words about the National Counselor Exam. I talked about it before. This is the exam that is required to apply to become a licensed professional counselor in the state of New Jersey. Because we are a KCREP accredited program, we are able to offer this exam to our students in their last semester of enrollment as part of their application to be National Board Certified Counselors. That's a voluntary certification, but it does require that students pass the National Counselor exam. So our students usually take that exam. The majority of them, I would say probably 99%, pass the exam on their first try, and then are able to be National Board Certified Counselors immediately upon graduation. Students who graduate from non-KCREP accredited programs usually have to work another 2 years after graduation in order to receive this type of voluntary certification. Once students have passed the National Counselor exam and they have 60 credits, then they're able to apply to become licensed associate counselors. So let me say a few words about that. I know this is kind of going a little bit off our particular program, but I know that most of you are probably interested in the licensure process because that was probably an ultimate goal for you, and you want the assurance that the program will be able to prepare you for that. In the state of New Jersey, there are actually 2 steps to become a licensed professional counselor. The first step is to become a licensed associate counselor, or LAC. To become an LAC, you first have to have a master's degree in counseling from a KCREP approved or KCREP equivalent program and have completed 60 credits and have passed the National Counselor exam. So our students who graduate from the clinical mental health program, master's program, and the master's program in marriage, couples, and family counseling program, and students who are in the school counseling program and take an additional 12 credits. If they take the National Counselor exam in their last semester, then they're ready upon graduation and their 60 credits to apply to become a licensed associate counselor. Once an individual is a licensed associate counselor, Then they are able to obtain the 3 years of postmaster supervised counseling experience needed to become a licensed professional counselor, which is the final license, the LPC. Also, our students are able to count some of the clinical hours that they have with us during their master's degree towards that postmaster's counseling experience. So usually students have to complete maybe another 2 years and 3 months, not the actual full 3 years of the postmaster's counseling experience. So our students do successfully go on to get their LAC and the LPC with our degrees. So a few other key features about our programs. Our school counseling program can be completed in 2 years if going full-time, but you do have up to 6 years to complete the program part-time. Our clinical mental health and marriage, couples, and family counseling master's programs can be completed in 3 years full-time and again in up to 6 years part-time. We do have both day and evening classes to accommodate the needs of part-time and full-time students. I would say that most of our classes are in the evening with a couple during the day, but if a class is offered during the day one semester, it is always offered in the evening in the following semester to accommodate the needs of all of our students. In terms of when our classes meet, they meet for once a week for 2.5 hours at a time. Our evening classes start at either 5, they'll go from 5 to 7:30 or 7:40 to 10:10. Daytime classes usually are at 9:30 in the morning till 12 noon. We also offer quite an array of summer classes, and they're usually offered during the day and the evening as well. We have a number of different summer terms. We have a Maymester term where students are able to take 1-credit classes for 3 weeks in a row. They're usually elective type classes. And then we offer a number of core courses and elective classes in 2 5-week summer terms throughout June and July. But a real special feature of our program is that we offer summer courses in Portugal. We offered them in Portugal for the first time last summer, and we probably had over 22 students enrolled over there, and they had a great experience, and we're going to continue that again this year. Some of the courses that we're going to be offering this coming summer include all of our addictions classes and some core courses and elective courses. We're going to offer 2 core courses, career counseling and our multicultural counseling course, and an elective course in human sexuality. So students are able to take up to 3 classes. Those classes usually run for about 10 days. In a row, 9 to 10 days, and there are 2 classes per session, so that students could take 1 class in a session, then the following session another one, and then in the 3rd session another one. So you could take up to 3 classes in Portugal, or you could just take 1 or 2 and you could take an elective, or you could take electives and some core courses, however you might choose. So that's been very, very popular among our students, and we hold orientations for our students about preparing. Students usually arrange together to room together over there, and also in terms of the cost, it's actually cheaper per credit to study in Portugal compared to the cost per credit for courses at TCNJ campus. So the tuition savings can often help compensate for the cost of the flight over there. I want to say a little bit about our clinical experiences as well, because that's really the part of the program that is preparing students with the actual training to be a counselor. It's a very intensive experience for our students. It's usually held over 2 to 3 semesters, and it involves at least 720 hours of actual experience working under the supervision of a counselor. If students are actually already working in a counseling type setting, they are able to use their work experience as part of their clinical setting, but they have to meet certain requirements. Most of our students, though, are not actually working in the counseling field, so they are in internship sites within the Trenton area, Central New Jersey, some in North Jersey, South Jersey, depending on where they live. We don't actually assign you a site. We have a list of all the places that have had our students or would like to have our students, and students reach out to those sites, so therefore you are able to have an internship close to where you live. And we have had students in just about every school district in the Central New Jersey area, and many in South Jersey and North Jersey as well. We also have many clinical mental health sites and marriage and family sites. We also have a clinic of our own here on campus that serves people from the community, that is a special clinic training site for our marriage, couples, and family counseling program, both our master's in EDS, and also is a training facility for our clinical mental health students who would choose to do an internship there. We also have our TCNJ Psychological Counseling Center, which has served as a site for some of our clinical mental health students who would like to work in higher education as well. In our program, we are very highly committed to cultural diversity and human rights, and we encourage honest and respectful discussion regarding different points of view in all of our classes. Most of our classes involve some type of self-exploration involving reflection papers or some type of experiential learning to really think about yourself, how you're growing as a person, and how you would like to be open to many different people. We ascribe to the American Counseling Association's Code of Ethics and the Multicultural Counseling Development competencies, and we encourage our students and ask them to uphold these departmental views on openness to diversity and human rights. So what can you expect as a student in our program? We have small classes. One of the classes I teach now has only 14 students. The other class has 21. That's about the highest number I ever have in a class. When you're actually in your practicum and internship classes at the end of the program, you'll not have more than 9 students in a class. And during that year, you actually work with a faculty member one-on-one with individual supervision. You're assigned a faculty advisor whom you meet with each semester for advisement for your classes. So you have a lot of faculty contact. We have 6 full-time faculty members, and most of our full-time faculty members teach our core courses. So you'll get to know us, and we'll get to know you very well. We also have lots of opportunities for mentorship. For example, for students who are preparing for doctoral study, it's often advantageous for them to get involved with doing research with faculty members, and faculty members welcome that. We have faculty who are involved with grant writing, and they get students involved with that process, and students have been able to publish some of their work with faculty, and students regularly present at the state conference of the New Jersey Counseling Association with faculty members. We have a lot of experiential learning experiences in our classes. You're rarely going to sit in a class for 2.5 hours and take notes. You're actually practicing counseling. You're working in the small rooms, usually with an advanced graduate student facilitator, learning and practicing counseling skills. We do have a number of electives possible. There are many addictions courses, the marriage and family counseling courses, so even if you're not specializing in those areas, you can still take those classes as some electives. As I said before, you can engage in research with faculty members. You can adjust your academic load, so if you start out part-time and want to shift to full-time or vice versa, that is certainly a possibility. Susan mentioned earlier to you the graduate assistantship opportunities that we have. There are 30 across campus, and our students are usually very successful in getting some of those graduate assistantships available. We've had grad assistants in the graduate office, in the TCNJ Tutoring Center, in the library, many different places on campus. And students are able to also apply for loans through the Financial Assistance Office on campus. I want to say just a little bit about our admissions process, and then we'll get over to some questions that you might have. It is a competitive, multifaceted process. As Susan said, we admit students twice a year. We already passed our October 1st deadline, so our next deadline for master's programs is February 1st, and all material must be submitted by that date. If you're interested in the EDS program, that's the postmaster's program in marriage, couples, and family therapy, that deadline is also February 1st, so keep that deadline in mind. The admissions process involves a number of different considerations. Your undergraduate record, we look closely at. We look at just the verbal scores of the GREs, but if you already have another master's degree, you don't have to take the GREs. We do have a resume requirement and a related pre-professional experience addendum, and we look closely at the kinds of experiences that you've had in working with individuals and groups and leadership experiences that you might have had, or other special strengths or advocacy or scholarship or multicultural experiences that you may have had over the years. So we're not just looking at one factor, we're looking at many different factors. We're looking at the ability to be able to work with people and commitment to working with lots of different kinds of people and an openness to growth and change. You will be required to submit 2 letters of reference and write a personal statement. We do have a group interview process. Once we receive the applications, we review them. We invite candidates for a group interview here on campus, and after the group interview, applicants write a self-reflection of the group interview process. So we take all of this into consideration upon making our decisions. Our non-matriculation application, you're able to take up to 6 credits, as Susan indicated, as a non-matriculated student. But if you want to apply for full matriculation, that is a separate application, so you would still need to apply for full matriculation. Both are separate applications. And with the non-matriculation application, you submit your transcript and a personal statement. So at this time, we'd like to do one more poll, and I'll turn it over to Susan for that.
Thank you. Okay, we'd like to know from you which type of admission you're seeking. So it looks like most are looking at fall 2015 matriculation.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Great. So most of you are looking at our February 1st deadline then. And usually we review the applications as soon as we get them in February. And we generally hold our group interview process early in March. And applicants would then know of a decision, usually within a couple weeks after that. Just another slide though on non-matriculation. If you are considering non-matriculation, the deadline would be December 1st. But as Susan said, that's the soft deadline, and the final deadline is January 7th. But if you do start out as a non-matriculated student, keep in mind that you still must complete the full matriculation application for a master's program. Just a little bit more. All admissions and program information will be available on the TCNJ Graduate Studies webpage, as Susan pointed out. Also, our counselor education website has links to the Graduate Studies website and a lot of additional information. You can click on there and get actual program details and lists of the actual courses for each of the programs. We also put out a student manual and a clinical manual, and all of that's up there. We also have on our clinical site the list of all the different sites our students have gone to for their internships, so you could take a look at that as well. I have on this screen different contact information. If you're interested in clinical mental health counseling, please contact me. I'd welcome you to come to campus and show you our facilities and talk to you in person. And so would all of the other coordinators. Our marriage, couples, and family counseling master's program and our EDS program is coordinated by Dr. Mark Woodford. He is also our coordinator for our SAC programs as well. And school counseling coordinator is Dr. Stuart Rowe. So please feel free to contact any one of us according to your area of interest, and we'd be happy to answer any question you might have over email or have you come in person and meet with us. So at this time, I'm going to turn it over to Susan for some questions and answers.
Okay.
Thank you, Dr. Cavallaro. I don't have the screen. Okay. Thank you. We're going to take your questions and get you the answers that you need. We do have some additional contact information here as well. My information is here with my email, phone, and also the office email, phone, and webpage, and Dr. Cavallaro as well. And we do have some questions coming in, so let's take a look at these. So the first question is, if I wanted to be a counselor for people with disabilities, all ages, which program would you recommend?
I would suggest the clinical mental health counseling program because that's going to prepare you to work in a variety of different agencies, and you could choose as an internship to work in a setting with individuals who have disabilities. So that would probably be the best option for you.
And our next question is, can someone who has an LPC from New Jersey practice in other states?
First, you would have to obtain the license from that other state. Each state has its own licensure requirements. That's unfortunate. We don't have automatic licensure across states, so you have to apply to each state where you're going to practice. However, most of the licensure requirements are fairly uniform across states, so you usually have the credentials that you need, but it's a matter of applying for that particular state's license. You're not automatically licensed once you go to that state. You just have to apply for their license. But they usually require the master's degree, 60 credits, and taking the national counselor exam. So you'd have what you would need generally.
Okay. And let's see, we have a question regarding letters of recommendation and what it is that's looked for in a letter. Who should that be from?
Yeah, that's a great question. The letter should really be written by someone who knows you in a professional capacity. If you've been an undergraduate fairly recently, we would suggest an academic, a letter of recommendation from faculty members. If you've done some kind of internship, maybe a supervisor at an internship site. If you've been working for a while and haven't been in school for a while, recommendations from supervisors who would know you and could speak to your performance. Really don't ask friends, relatives, people who've known you for a long time and they like you but they don't know you in a professional capacity. We're really looking for someone who can objectively talk about your qualifications to study at the graduate level and to ultimately become a counselor.
Okay, thank you. We have a question asking what the differences between matriculation versus non-matriculation. So just to clarify, if you know which program you'd like to apply for, and let's say you're interested in the MA school counseling program, you can apply straight away for matriculation into that program as long as you haven't missed a deadline. You can apply for matriculation into that program. So if you're applying for admission into the specific degree program or certificate program. Non-matriculation is if you're not sure which program you're interested in, maybe you want to just take a course or two. Maybe you've missed a deadline to apply for matriculation, but you want to try to get a start. You would apply for non-matriculation. So that's meaning that you're not applying for admission into a given program. You're applying in general for a type of admission to the department so that you can take a course or two. And again, a non-matriculant is not eligible for financial aid. And a non-matriculant can take up to 2 classes or 6 credits that can be used toward a program that you later apply for and become accepted as a matriculated student. So if you later apply for matriculation into a degree or certificate program and become accepted. A question regarding GREs and just what's looked for and how much weight is placed on GREs.
Well, as we said before, we look only at the verbal scores. Generally, we're looking for a score above approximately 146, but we don't have a cutoff. We really take so many different factors into account. We're looking very strongly at academic course records and a strong record there. If someone does extremely well in their coursework, but maybe doesn't do quite as well on the GREs, we'll take that into consideration. Also, we're looking quite closely at the kinds of experiences a person has had, their personal statement, their letters of recommendation, their performance in the group interview. So we really encourage students to not get so stressed out and be discouraged from applying if they don't feel that they did really well on the GREs, because we are looking at a lot of different factors, and if you're strong in a lot of other areas and not so strong in the GREs, we certainly can take that into account.
Okay. Our next question is asking what the process is to apply for matriculation later. So, so if you're first a non-matriculant, if you apply for non-matriculation first, let's say, and you take, let's use as an example spring 2015. So if you're looking to apply for non-matriculation for spring 2015, if you are admitted as a non-matriculant and you take classes in the spring, but then you wish to become a matriculated student for fall 2015, you would submit another online application. You would go to the graduate webpage to that blue Apply Now button. You would submit another online application, but this time choosing matriculation and choosing the specific program for which you're seeking admission. You would provide the supplemental documents that we had talked about. So there's the online application fee, the essay, the 2 letters of recommendation, the official transcripts from all undergraduate and graduate institutions, the GRE scores unless you hold a master's or other higher level degree, resume, CV with related pre-professional activities, the admissions questionnaire addendum, and once everything is here and your application is complete, as long as it's complete by the appropriate deadline, then that would be reviewed by the Program Admissions Committee in the Department of Counselor Education, and you would be, then there's a process of interviews, and then you'd be provided with an admission decision. we have any additional questions. And we have a question regarding where to submit supplemental documents and if they all need to come together to the office. So all of your supplemental documents should come into the Office of Graduate Studies, which is located in Lozier Hall. We have our full address on our site, the website listed there, graduate.pages.tcnj.edu. So you would have all of your documents sent to the Office of Graduate Studies, including your official transcripts. They should all be sent to us at the Office of Graduate Studies. You want to be sure when you're requesting your transcripts to be sent that your sending institution is not, sometimes they automatically send to the Office of Admissions, but at TCNJ that would mean the Office of Undergraduate Admissions. You want to be sure that you're requesting that they send it to the Office of Graduate Studies at the College of New Jersey, and again, the address is located on our website. And as far as the question about sending them all together, sending pieces in all together, it's very nice for us to receive a full packet of materials, but we recognize that that's not always feasible. So we can certainly begin to create a file for you, an application file, once we have even just one document. So if you submit your online application and attach your essay, then we're going to start a file for you. And as soon as we get the other pieces in, we will build that file until you have everything there, and we can determine that it's complete. And then we provide your information to the Program Admissions Committee. Okay, that looks like we've covered most of the questions. If you do have additional questions, again, you have our contact information, please feel free to reach out to us. We'd be happy to help guide you through the process or answer the questions you have about the programs that we have available. Dr. Cavallaro, is there anything you'd like to add?
No, I think that covers everything, but please, if you have any additional questions, feel free to contact us. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you, and have a good evening.
Hey, they're all gone.
We're all done? Great.
Yeah. I usually
Thanks for your help.
I don't know if they notice it or not, but as soon as you guys wrap it up, I go, all right, and I kick them all off one by one. Well, because otherwise it's weird that the three of us are sitting around going, are you leaving?